read 4 books in the month of September. Let's talk about them. So last month I did an August reading challenge where I read a book a day in August. So this was a bit slower paced month, but I am still very happy with all of my reads. The first book I read was Goal Line by Julia Connors. This is a part of the Boston Rebels series, which is a sports hockey romance series. This book follows Eva and Luke. Eva is a figure skater who happens to be pregnant, and Luke is her longtime best friend who is a hockey player and the son of his hockey team's owner. There are some very interesting family dynamics in this one that I absolutely love. It is a little bit long for a sports romance. It's over 500 pages. I ended up rating this one a 4.25 stars. So next, I read Fearful by Lauren Roberts. This is a novella set in the Powerless trilogy world. This occurs after the final book in that series, which is Fearless, and this kind of covers some of the events of Fearless through Kit's perspective a little bit, and then a little bit into a new character's perspective. Was not a big fan of this book. I thought it was odd. First, I was intrigued by this concept that we get introduced to really early on, but by the ending, it was just not very satisfying, and it kind of leaves me to wonder if we're dragging out this series a little too long. Not much happened in this book. It was definitely filler, yet it happens after the last book, which makes me think there's going to be another book. I ended up giving this one a 3.5 stars. The next book I read was Silver Elite by Dani Francis. This was really hyped up on TikTok a couple of months ago for being a dystopian fantasy romance. I will say that with most dystopian books, I tend to like the first book and then kind of have it fall off for the rest of the series. But I really liked this one. I did think it was kind of long, but look at those edges. This book follows Ren, who is living in this dystopian world where she has telepathic powers, and a bunch of people do, but they are obviously not allowed to live in society. That's usually the premise of every dystopian book. Ren finds herself in a government military training program and has to hide her powers, but Ren is also actively working for the resistance, and it's a dystopian romantasy, and I love the concept of that. I gave it a 4.75 stars. The next book I finished was The Last Soul Among Wolves by Melissa Caruso. This is a part of the Echo Archives series. I don't know how many are going to be in this series, but I read The Last Hour Between Worlds earlier this year. Absolutely loved it. It's kind of a sci-fi fantasy romance. This is also an LGBTQ plus romance. If you want that representation in your books, definitely check out this one. This book follows Kemrel Thorne, who is a new mother who happens to work for an organization called the Hounds. In this world, there's a lot of different organizations, and they all have their roles within society, and they deal with these things called echoes. So in this world, there is the prime reality, so that's the main reality that all of our characters live in, and then you've got echoes that go kind of underneath. So if you're one echo down, things are a little bit off, and then as you keep going down, it's odder and odder. I absolutely love this series and will definitely be continuing it. I gave this book a 4.5 stars. So those are the 4 books that I read in September. Let me know what you read in September and if you're interested in any of these.